Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I seem to have disconnected now. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Just give me a second. Oh, fabulous. That was a lot of buzzing going on. Brilliant to see you all, guys. Hope we are all well. Whose first one is it? Orla's first one. Anybody else's first one? Well, Emer? No, it's Emer Casey. Is it Emer Casey? Guys, when you don't have your videos on, I'm not sure who I've got. Yeah, it's not your first one, Emer. That's it. It's Orla's first one. Orla, actually, it's a nice little one for you to start off with, because it's going to just be a topic today. So we are going to be going through the hierarchy of nutrition and how to get stronger, just a little bit of info on it. And then at the end, I'll give you some time for questions and answers. And Orla, you can give a little introduction to yourself, who you are, where you come from. But I will get started. I'm going to do a little PowerPoint, guys, for you. So yeah, just bear with me and I will go through questions then at the end. So can you all see that? Can you give me a thumbs up? My computer was acting the maggot today, so I really hope it's a little bit better now tonight, because this morning it was just maybe it needs to be restarted or something, but it's just not been acting well. Anyway, we will get started. So this is my hierarchy of nutrition and how to get stronger. So this is very subjective. It's very much my opinion, but I think it's a really good basis, and I'm going to explain why. So when it comes to what I think is the most important part of nutrition, it is consistency. So that will be totally different to what you see all over social media, and a lot of PTs say where they're like, calories is the most important thing, calories in versus calories out. I think that it does not matter what your calories are if you can't be consistent with them. So let's just take, for example, my maintenance calories are 2,000 calories. So to be in a deficit, we're looking at me being in about 1,500 calories. Let's just take, for example. But for me to get to them 1,500 calories, I find it close to impossible. I overeat on those calories every single day. Therefore, I am not consistent. Therefore, I will not achieve my goals. Does not matter if you are going to try a keto diet, a low carb diet, a high carb diet, a Mediterranean diet. Does not matter if it fits your macros, whatever it is you do, if you cannot be consistent with it is never going to work. So that is why I have consistency down there as the biggest part of the triangle. And let's be honest, it really, really does come down to this. And those of you who have been with me a long time, and there are lots of you in the audience that have been with me for much longer than 12 weeks, you understand that this consistency is exactly what works. And having those kind of non-negotiables, those small little habits that you've built over whatever period of time you've been working with me is what leads to those goals. And I suppose it's where us as an impatient nation, or a nation as impatient women, unfortunately, we want these results, we want to see these changes, but we want that quick response. And none of that comes down to consistency. You know, them 6-week challenges, the 1,200 calorie diets, yes, they will work for a short period of time, but over the long run, none of them work, because consistency cannot work into it. Really just can't be consistent. It's the same when it comes to training. It's the same when it comes to strength goals. It's the same when it comes to anything. Consistency trumps over everything. Absolutely everything. So remember, it does not matter what your calorie deficit is. If you can't be consistent with it, does not matter what your calories is. Doesn't matter if your protein is really good one day and poor another day. That's not consistency. So consistency is the main base of this triangle, and it is the most important part to any nutrition plan. And I'm saying nutrition plan or diet, and essentially our diet is, you know, we associate the word diet with being really bad, but diet is essentially what we eat. That's all it is. It's just we have this idea of what diet is because of fad diets, but diet is essentially just what we eat. So if I do refer to, you know, your eating patterns as diet, that's the reason, because that's what it is. And diet isn't a bad thing. So that is number one. If we do not have that, if you cannot sustain this long term, nothing else matters. And that is why all of you get these small habitual changes that over the long run you can consistently keep. And Orla, I know it's your first coaching call, but the girls will tell you that, like, you know, the stuff that I give you, you will be able to keep long term. Long after a program is finished, I meet you in Sydney at some point next year, and you're like, oh yeah, Amanda's still doing everything that, you know, you taught me back in 2021, that crazy year, back in lockdown. And that's the whole idea to the whole thing, is keeping this consistency and making a lifestyle change. So second thing then is food quality. And this is again where I'm quite different to other people. And other people will be like, doesn't matter, once it's calories in versus calories out. And I actually had a girl this morning that had said to me, and she said it back when she started the program, you know, she was doing, and I'm not dissing any other coaches, by the way, but she said to me that she was with another coach and she asked a question. She was really confused as to what she was supposed to be doing when it came to nutrition. She was like, I don't know, like I've literally no clue. Like, will you kind of guide me a little bit? Like, should I be having more protein? Should I be having less treats? Like, I just don't really know, because she was just given a calorie target. That is literally it. And the person turned around and said to her, they were like, it doesn't matter once you're under your calories. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. It's not something that I have ever agreed with. You'll hear me talk about it. Look, it is the nutritionist in me that food quality does matter. Oh, of course it's not working. Of course it's not. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but anyway. I'm not sharing that now. Okay. I didn't share that there, did I? No. Okay, I'm sharing it again. Oh, maybe if I just share my screen. Stop share. Maybe if I just share my screen. Oh, this might work actually better. You can see this again, yeah? Give me a thumb. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, this is better. So in terms of energy balance, and in terms of an energy currency, let's just say, a calorie is a calorie. Essentially, a calorie is a calorie when it comes to energy balance, when it comes to energy as a currency. But like I used earlier on, when we think of, like, maybe we might have $1. We might have $1 in our wallet that is dirty. We might have a dollar that fell down the toilet. We might have $1 that was found in dog crap. Just because it's $1 doesn't mean that it's a good, clean, nutritious dollar. Obviously, it's totally irrelevant, but you get what I'm trying to say. So I don't believe you can compare 80 calories of an apple with 80 calories of a Mars bar. So yes, it's a great way. The whole calories and the whole energy balance is a great way of allowing for foods that we enjoy. And I do it. We all do it. You know, glass of wine, some chocolate, a takeaway here and there. It's a brilliant way to do it. But you need to have good quality food as the base of your diet. So that's why, you know, you'll all get meal guides. It's exactly why you all, I change your habits to try and implement a lot more, you know, whole foods, a lot more nutritious, single ingredient foods, as opposed to saying, right, this is your calories. Doesn't matter what you consume within those calories, as long as you're hitting a certain target. Because the nutrient profile, how that reacts in your body, you just can't compare them two foods. Even though energy balance wise, and as an energy currency, 80 calories is equal to 80 calories. That does not mean that that is how it reacts in your body. And unfortunately, all we can see is an outside picture. So we just get the aesthetics picture, and we get that weight loss, or we get, you know, maybe that lean muscle, whatever it is from the outside. We don't see what's going on inside. Unless we're getting bloods done, unless there's something severely up with our body, then we don't see what it is. But what I'm trying to say to you is that food quality does matter. And you probably have heard of things like if it fits your macros. And actually that was a great idea, but then people just took the piss with it, and it ended up going to a thing that, you know, people ended up eating way more crap food than they did whole foods. And they're like, if it fits your macros, it fits your macros. The idea is that we want to be able to add foods that we enjoy into our diet. That's 100% important. But we also want to have the basis of our foods, to have them good quality, nutritious foods. So other people will not tell you the food quality matters, but I'm telling you it does. And I truly believe that. And it's not just about the aesthetics and what's going on the outside, but it's also about what's going on the inside. We're looking at longevity, we're looking at long-term health, physical and mental health. And I think that food quality is going to be a huge part to play in that. Okay, so that to me is number 2. But unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever way you look at it, calories are king. And as a measure of energy, like I said, calories in versus calories out, it does essentially come down to that. So when you're looking at calories, there are 2 ways of doing it. The number 1 way that that I recommend to every single one of you is to use MyFitnessPal initially. And that's for everybody. I always recommend everybody uses it initially, because even though it does have a certain amount of, you know, a certain amount of it isn't going to be correct, because none of these things are 100% accurate. It is the best possible scenario that we have. So, you know, it will give us the best outcome, and at least it's consistent. But be aware that it is not 100% accurate. That's the long and the short of it. But it's the most accurate thing that we have access to. And I always recommend absolutely everybody do that for a period of time anyway. Some of you love it, you absolutely love it, and you really like the whole numbers thing. And some of you hate it, and you veer on to other ways. And another way that you can kind of try and control or limit your calories is through portion control. Using your PAM as a portion of protein. I wouldn't really worry about the vegetables one, to be totally honest with you. Portion control for vegetables is very uncommon. And then, you know, a fistful or a cupped handful for a portion of carbohydrates, and then a thumbful for fats. And by the way, your thumb being all the way down to the end. Why can't I do this? I'm terrible with this. My boyfriend makes fun of me so much for this. I should be well used to the camera. But anyway, top of the thumb down to the bottom, okay, is your portion of fat. So I know some of the girls in the morning call were like, I really like that method, and they feel that it's a lot easier for them and sustainable, especially with the Irish folk who are able to go out and enjoy themselves and about weekends and things like that, where they don't have to track absolutely everything. Because if you're going out for food, it is very difficult to track. But again, you're just trying to get the best measure as opposed to it being perfectly accurate. So they're kind of the 2 ways to monitor calories as best as possible. As I said, your MyFitnessPal is your gold standard, because it is going to be the most accurate way that you can do it. But if you can either start off with doing MyFitnessPal and wean your way down to portion control, or vice versa. You can maybe start off with portion control as something that you find a little bit easier, and then work your way up to MyFitnessPal. So calories to me is actually only middle ground. And I can promise you, you'll look at other people's and you'll see calories at the very bottom. And I just believe that it doesn't matter what your calories are if you can't be consistent with them. So that's why I see it as third. And then comes protein, everybody's fave. Orla's looking at me being like, oh my God. Orla and Ali, actually Ali had joined in. So Ali, it's your first one as well. So both of you are going to be tortured with the whole protein thing. But it'll come. It'll be, the girls will tell you it takes a little while, but when it comes, you're feeling on top of the world. You feel like you've so much accomplished. So there's 3 reasons why I'm a big fan of protein. And it does not matter what your goals are. It does not matter. Protein is important for any of them. Number 1, the satiety effect of it. So it keeps us really full and it keeps our blood sugar stabilized. Number 2, it's required for so many recovery processes in the body. So it's just required for so many processes in the body. And I always get people saying, oh yeah, but I don't work out or I don't exercise, so I obviously don't need protein. Absolutely not. You need it for so many processes in the body. It does not matter if you're working out or not. And then the third one is the thermic effect of protein. So when we are talking about our calories burned is the easiest way of describing it. So it's our total daily energy expenditure. There are 4 components to that. Number 1 is our BMR. So that's our basal metabolic rate. That's something we don't really have that much control over because it's kind of what's happened in the past. 2 is our NEAT activity, and that accounts for about 15 to 20% of our overall total daily energy expenditure. Our purposeful activity accounts for about 5 to 10%. And then the thermic effect of food actually accounts for about 5 to 10%. So actually the foods that we're eating have an impact on our calories expended. So protein has the highest of the 3 macronutrients. So protein is higher than fats and carbohydrates, and that's why protein is king. So just in case we're not aware, but these are all in your meal guides, protein that we're talking about animal-based protein, which is from meat, fish, eggs, dairy, etc. And then our vegetable-based, which is like things like tofu, lentils, and other meat substitutes. I personally like to have like a vegetable and an animal base. So like today I had a chili con carne with kidney beans and turkey mince. And I find that very, very tasty, very nice. And it's a good way of getting extra protein in there. So just something I wanted to show you. I actually put this up in the group this morning because I just thought it was something that was quite nice to look at visually. I'd like to say I did it myself, but look, Venn diagrams from school actually do have relevance. Sorry, I'm saying that, and I know I have teachers on here. I'm not dissing teachers, guys, not dissing them at all. But I remember looking at Venn diagrams and being like, when am I ever going to use that in my life? But look, I did use it. Anyway, so in this little box up the top, you'll hear me talk about, you know, what is the protein in as opposed to what is a protein source. So a protein source means that it is whole protein. So when I'm talking about that, and you'll see this in your meal guides as well, that you'll see all kind of white meats, white fishes, etc., white egg whites. And you're probably like, why? Is like red meat, is that not okay? And it's not that it's not okay, but these are the really whole protein sources. So these are just protein, whereas things like whole eggs, beef, other red meats, they are proteins and fats. Salmon is in here as well. And it's not that any of these things are bad, but it's just to be kind of aware that, you know, your protein and fat-based foods are going to have more calories in them. If your goal is to, you know, try and consume as much food, but keep it as low in calories as possible, then, you know, you're going to get more bang from your buck from these kind of white fishes, these white meats. But if I have in your program, you know, I want to see some protein diversity, and I do that with some girls, but that'll be well down the line. I have that with girls that I've had for 6 or 8 months. So don't be worrying too much. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to find it hard to get protein in, let alone change up the types of protein I have. So when I say diversity, it'd be great to see like some different sources of protein in here. But it's just to be aware that these top ones are protein alone. These are proteins and fats. And then we have our fats alone, then all these lovely foods. These are, I don't know about the recipe, but these are my favorite foods. These carbs and fats, oh, they are just the best. And then we have our carbs, and they are our complex carbohydrates, like our oats, our grains, our rice, our corn, and then our sugars as well. We have in there as carbs, and fruit is also a carb. And then we have things that are made up of all of them, and then our proteins and carbs, which are like kind of our dairy and our quinoa and our beans, peas, lentils, etc. as well. So that's just a nice visual, because quite often I get people asking, especially about protein, you know, what can I get in? How do I improve it? And this is just a lovely visual to see how to improve. You know, maybe I need more fats in my diet. Okay, there's some fats. Or maybe I want to get more fats in, and I can actually get it in through my protein. And so get it in through, you know, salmon or beef, etc. So it's a nice little visual. And then the top of this pyramid is our supplements. So, you know, at the very, very top, if you've this all nailed, when you have all these 4 things nailed, then maybe we think about supplements. Now, the only supplement I wouldn't count in this top one is a whey protein supplement or some sort of protein supplement. I take a collagen myself, and I would actually consider that in the protein part, because for a lot of people, number one, they might find it difficult to hit their protein without getting maybe a supplement in there. Or number two, if you're like me and you just love chocolate, you want to add it to your breakfast. So like, or a snack or whatever it may be. So for me, I would add my protein supplements to my oats in the morning. 2 reasons: it tastes bloody delicious, and it's going to get my protein in there as well. So that is the only supplement I wouldn't consider in that top, because I would consider it more kind of a food alternative here. And the supplements up top, so, you know, depending on you hitting all these, you might find, I know myself, I take a green supplement just because I want every sort of micronutrient in me possible. I get like a really good diversity of fruit and vegetables, but I want to get it all. So I take a green supplement. If you're the type of person that struggles with fruit and veg, I would definitely be taking a green supplement. I also take creatine for my strength training and trying to get stronger. Vitamin D supplementation in Ireland definitely would be of benefit if you're somebody that doesn't get much fish or fish oils in. That could be a very good supplement. But if there is something, talk to me about it. If there is something that you're worried maybe you're lacking in, but it definitely should be the last piece to the puzzle, as opposed to, you know, down here. And that is essentially my hierarchy of nutrition. That is kind of what I consider the most important things to nutrition and a diet, etc. Has anybody any questions on what we just spoke about there? Or maybe anything that you kind of thought of that you were like, oh yeah, it mightn't be related. It's fine if it's not related, but anything maybe that you had a certain question on. It mightn't even be re-nutrition. No, we all good so far? Fab. Okay, the next part isn't going to take too long, and then I will leave the floor for questions and answers again. But the last part is just, I suppose, when I'm doing out the programs for you and Lisa's doing out programs, we just hand it to you there. We're like, here, do this. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get fitter. There you go. But I wanted to explain to you kind of how this works, because I had a really good conversation with the guy that I train with. He's also a coach, and we're just kind of having this good chat about people who don't get programming done for them, and they can't understand why they're not seeing results. And you know, if maybe you've gotten like a 6-week program before, and you constantly do that 6-week program. So maybe you do it for 6 weeks, and then the 6 weeks is up, so you start it again, and then you start it again, and so on, so on. And like, it's very, very difficult to progress and get better and do better at that program, because that is only programmed for 6 weeks. So, you know, sometimes I'll have somebody that might finish up after 12 weeks and they're like, oh yeah, I'll go back to the start of the program. And that's fine. Try and do that, no problem. But the way programming works is it's kind of looked at like long term, and it's not looked at just kind of over those 12 weeks. And it's very hard to progress from the start of a 12-week program by doing the exact same thing. Now, you can progress in it by increasing your reps, increasing your weights, increasing your steps, But if you do the exact same thing, it's going to be very, very difficult to progress in that. So like I'm going to start with this first one, this last one, sorry. When it comes to programming, the way you get stronger is through progressive overload. So increasing your weights, not everybody has access to that at the moment. Lucky us in lockdown at the moment. So if we can't lift heavier weights, then we're going to have to do more reps. We're going to have to do more sets. We're going to have to do this lovely, tasty one, which is slower reps. And that's working through tempo and pauses. And you'll see that in your programs where you're like, okay, what does this mean, like going slower? It just means that we're creating more tension on the muscle, which means we're breaking down and tearing the muscle fibers a little bit more, which means that they then need to repair. And it's just that way of progressively overloading when we don't have access to maybe heavier weights or doing more, doing higher weights, or yeah, that's kind of really the main way we're progressively overloading at the moment. But you need to be constantly doing that to get stronger, to see an improvement in whatever it is, whatever your goal is, strength-wise. But that is kind of the main way how programming works. But it does not matter what program you have. You could have the best program in the whole world. You could have a program that, you know, I'm going to use my idol. Like I could be using Emma McQuaid's program. She is, by the way, the best CrossFitter in Ireland, just in case we're not aware. So I could be using her program, but if I'm not consistent with it, well, I'm not realistically going to do as well as Emma McQuaid either, let's be honest here. I haven't been training for the last 10 years like she has. But if I had been, and I'm not being consistent with it, it does not matter what program I'm doing, because I'm not going to get the results I want if I am not consistent with training. So if you are the type of person that will do 12 weeks, and then you'll stop for 12, and then you'll start for 12, and you stop for 12, and you start for 12. If you just kept even twice a week, even once a week up throughout the year, it would be a lot more beneficial than starting, stopping, starting, stopping. Now, I have 3 times a week in here, and this is optimal, okay? This is, you know, your creme de la creme. But that's not going to work for everybody. You know, like some of you have kids, some of you have kids that are home now at the moment. It's just not going to be feasible to maybe be doing 3 sessions a week. But whatever amount of sessions that we're doing, you need to be able to keep them consistent. And if you need to pull that back to 1, if you need to pull that back to 2, whatever it is you need to do, but you need to be consistent with them. This is the creme de la creme, but that doesn't mean that anything else is a waste of time. Once a week is not a waste of time. Twice a week definitely isn't a waste of time, but you have to be consistent with it, guys. And then the last thing is eating enough. So this is where people fail. And Sarah, I had great chats with you about this, because, you know, you said to me that getting stronger was a goal, the excitement that goes through me when people say that. And we had talked about, okay, you really need to be, you know, getting enough calories in, getting enough protein in, fats for their anti-inflammatory properties, color for their micronutrients. You need to be eating enough. You need to be eating good quality food. You need to be eating enough calories, enough protein, enough fats. And it is the combination of these 3 things that help with getting stronger. So it's not just one thing, it is the combination. And obviously you have other lifestyle factors as well there, like sleep and recovery and you know, getting enough steps in, etc. So like there is other things there, but these are the 3 main things that if we can keep and do properly, these 3 things will really help. I would also like to take this opportunity to say, please, please, please do not compare yourself to anybody else. Like I just compared myself to Emma McQuaid there. Technically, I really would never, ever do that because it's just ridiculous. But honestly, guys, you're going to steal the joy out of your lives if you compare yourselves to other people. And I know, look, it's just us. We do it. It's just natural, unfortunately. But honestly, you will end up stealing the enjoyment out of things yourself. Everybody goes a certain rate. There is no like gold standard of how much you can progress each week. Then we have to take into account our cycles and how that affects us. And for some people, it doesn't affect them that much. For some people, it really, really affects them. So there's just so many contributing factors: your work, your stress, your sleep. There's just so many contributing factors that on one week you might dip a little bit, and then it could have an impact and a domino effect on other weeks. So there's no like set amount that you're going to progress and improve on each week. There's just no set. But you know, just keep with the program, keep with consistency, and it will all eventually pay off, even if it is like bloody 7 years down the line, like me, and you're like, oh yeah, 7 years down the line, okay, I finally can do this. But honestly, the success is just this week. Just trust the process and enjoy the process. That is half the battle. Enjoy what you're doing, and you will not find it difficult to sustain. Okay, guys, that is my chatting done. Enough crap talking. Anybody, any questions on any of the above? Anything we just spoke about? Nutrition, getting stronger. Any of those things re-nutrition? Is there anything you were like, oh my God, I can't believe that's the answer. I can't believe that's what I have to do. No, we all good? We got a bit from that? Fabulous. Okay. Yeah, Catherine.
Sorry, Amanda. I just have one question. In terms of diversity, I suppose I change up my dinners every week, but like my breakfast and lunches can be quite similar. I just get into a routine and I stick to the same one. Should I be trying to kind of maybe every couple of weeks, like just have something else? Like Monday to Friday for a month, I could have the same breakfast and lunch. I just go into that mindset and that's it. But should I be kind of mixing it up a bit more? I suppose I should be.
You're an organized person, and I get that. What I say, as opposed to changing it all up, why not add something in? So like, okay, let's just say, for example, breakfast, okay, I have oats. Okay, instead of having chocolate protein, I'm going to have a vanilla protein. Instead of having blueberries, I'm going to have raspberries. Instead of having banana, I'm going to have apple. I'm going to add some toasted coconut instead of having the seeds. Like, I wouldn't necessarily, you don't have to overhaul change the whole breakfast. You could just change up little elements to it. Same with lunch, as opposed to, you know, maybe you have chicken salad for lunch, as opposed to changing chicken salad. Maybe I'll have a beef salad, but with the same salad, or I'll have chicken, but maybe with roast vegetables. Like, it doesn't need to be that you need to change everything, but maybe by just, you know, implementing a few little additional changes that, like, again, no more than the habits that I'm giving you, that you don't feel like it's a huge overhaul change to you, especially when like you're quite organized and you quite like that. And I'm the exact same, to be honest with you, but I just like to try and add in something new. So, you know, especially with things like fruit and veg, I'll try each week, try and add in something new. And like, obviously there's 52 weeks in the year, I'm not going to add something new in every week, but like, let's just say I add in new berries for like 4 weeks, and then I can go back to the berry that I had 4 weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? Or like same with veg, like you don't need to change it up every single week, but if you did like a little kind of, what would we call it? Like a little, oh, I'm terrible at words, but like it'd be nearly like a cycle. Yeah, like nearly like a cycle. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and that you add in something new, and then you're back to week 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Yeah, that's very helpful.
Add in a couple of things. Like, it doesn't, again, like add in one new protein source, one new veggie, one new fruit. And if you did that for 4 weeks and then you came back, it's just adding in a lot more diversity. It's getting more nutrients in. And again, like, it's, you know, obviously you don't mind the boredom thing. A lot of people are like me, recipes. I don't mind the boredom thing. I'm happy with the boredom thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people like get really bored, but obviously you don't mind that too much. But it's getting lots of diversity in there and getting lots of different nutrients and nutrient profiles in there.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
Great question though, really, really good. And that can go for a lot of people, I'm sure. Anybody else? Ella? No. Okay. Guys, not going through the week for you this week, because you're going to do it on the Facebook. A lot of you have already wrote back. Good, well done. Those of you who haven't, I'm going to tag you all, so I'm going to name and shame you. And I'm just going to let Orla and Ali introduce themselves. So Orla, if you want to say who you are, where you're from, and just a little brief about why you started the program.
Hi everyone. My name is Orla. I'm here in Sydney teaching at the minute. So I have been struggling weight-wise. I have been eating really well Monday to Friday, and then the social life takes over with Sunday. And I just need some accountability and consistency to try get back on track.
Woo! And we're definitely going to help you with that. And what better time than the lockdown to really like throw you into it? No better time. And it'll really give you the time to get on top of that consistency, which is like, you know, it's a nice actual way to start, even if it is crap.
Yeah.
But so excited to have you on board, Orla. Really, really good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Ali, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about why you started the program.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm Ali. I'm Scottish, but living in Sydney at the minute. I basically am similar to Orla. I was sort of trying to be healthy during the week, but sort of failing, and the weekends just going far too hard. And yeah, just was trying for ages myself to sort of lose a bit of weight and feel a bit fitter, and it wasn't really working. So I'm really excited to try the program and get excited into it.
Good, excellent. And look, this is the sort of lifestyle I want for everybody, not just those of us in Sydney, those of you at home that actually can enjoy the lifestyle now at the moment. Great for you. But that you don't feel like it's this big difference between weekdays and weekends. And it's not that there is going to be differences. There's no two ways about it, but that we can incorporate that as a whole, as opposed to having them as two really separate things where we restrict really severely and then it's like binge at weekends. We really want to make that kind of a harmonious thing that like we're actually able to, you know, have our cake and eat it, I suppose is the best way of describing it. So really excited to get you girls involved this week. And yeah, it wasn't too scary getting on today. And it was a good, nice way to ease you in as well. The coaching calls are usually a little bit different. We kind of go through how people's weeks have went. But I am going to be doing more of these because I do want to give you more topics and educate you a little bit more. And I find sometimes, well, I'm a very visual learner personally. So me talking at you all the time, sometimes it's not actually as beneficial as I think it can be. So I'm going to try and do these a little bit more often as well. So I really want you to get on top of those accountability posts on the Facebook group. If anybody is not part of the Facebook group, please send me a request. I am going to go through the Monday accountability anyway and tag those of you who haven't messaged in it. But yeah, and I actually got it done in 40 minutes, guys. What's going on? Any other questions before we finish up for the evening / morning, depending on what time zone we're in? Amanda? Yes, Geraldine?
Sorry,
You're distant.
background noise, but I'm in the tractor. But can I just say that I needed this talk this morning because if anything, it's kind of given me a burst. Because like I was kind of the weekend, I ended up with a sore throat and I was kind of struggling. But thank you.
Oh, that's brilliant, Geraldine. Absolutely excellent. And look, guys, that is just a perfect example of like a weekend does not ruin all the hard work that you're doing over the long term. And Geraldine, I'm so glad that you've seen that your consistency over the long term pays off over any weekend, even over a bad week. If you had a bad week, the consistency works way over that. So I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a great day now, Geraldine. Let it perk you up for us. Woo. Anybody anything else, guys? No, fabulous. Okay, as I said, go enjoy the rest of your day, and the rest of us can go to bed. And I will be in contact with all of you over the next little while, guys. Good night or good morning. Talk to you all later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.